Hola a todos. Hello everyone. I am Joan Espinal from Medellin, Colombia. Today we are going to do a stream to talk about some features that we have been working. Really excited to show some of these features as I have been personally working on them a lot. And today with us we have Toby and Jens. Do you want to introduce yourself, Toby?
Yeah. Hi, everyone. That's all I got. You've seen me before. I'm Toby from Australia.
And Jens, what about you?
Yeah, and you've seen me in a couple of streams as well here now. I'm Jens from Sweden, working as game designer for Strange Loop Games.
Well, that's nice. That's enough information, I guess. Okay, so to display the to talk about the camera features, so I'm going to share my screen. This should be it. And also, as always, we have a survey. I mean, you can find it on the top of the screen where we are open to get feedback for these features that we have been working on. 1 second, please. No, okay, that was my screen. So we have been working on including a camera to the game so players can take pictures. We are really excited about this feature because we would really love to see the kind of pictures that you take. I mean, there is all kind of funny and interesting pictures that are available. I mean, sceneries that are available to take the pictures. So once you have this item, the handheld camera, you can use it as any tool. Oh, I'm sorry, as any tool, it requires that you are not hungry. And once you use the camera, let me mute my game. Once you use the camera, you get this interface where you can take different pictures. All the pictures that you take are stored on your computer, so you can go and press the folder icon to see where they are stored. And here I can check all the pictures that I have been taking today. So I have a bunch of different pictures. I'm going back here again, but oh, we have to be there. So in case that you are wondering, like, oh, is that going to use a lot of images on your computer? You can always limit the amount of images. I mean, you can say 0 and you're not going to get any computer stored on your local computer, or you can increase to 1, 2, 3, etc. Having a small book there, sorry. But if you go to the idea is that you're going to have an option to have an unlimited amount of photos stored on your computer. Right now it's displayed as -1, but it will be improve the UI of this. So, so now when I select the camera, now we know that we can take pictures. But it's not only that, we can, similar to the hammer and building system, you can press F to get all the options. So for example, I can use flash for my pictures. So now it will look brighter, or I can turn off flash if I like how the lighting is. I can also select the aspect ratio, so I can decide using 4:3 or completely square, or we can go for a portrait style. But it's not only that, we can also zoom using the scroll wheel, or you can also use this slider. And you can also update the depth of field, meaning that I can blur what is on the background. So for example, here I'm going to blur what is behind Toby and take a picture that may look a little bit more cinematic, I guess. I can take all kind of pictures here, and it's really interesting how it works with the different values that you can take. So for example, I can take here a picture of tomatoes, or if I want to focus the corn, well, I can move that again to a longer distance and stuff like that. I mean, we are really happy to see all kind of creations that people come up to this. We have also been working a lot on improving the transition. So when the player gets the camera close to the face, that it works fine for first and third person, and all kind of stuff. I mean, it's a work in progress, but we are happy how this getting so far. So this is what I wanted to show about this feature. We are going to see that is not we are planning to have different cameras, but Toby is going to tell you more about that. So I'm going now to switch to Toby screen, and I'll check the questions that are so far.
Hello. Can you see my screen?
Yeah, it should be visible now.
Nice. Yeah. This one we don't have in the game just yet, but this is kind of like an initial camera that you'll be able to get. So you can place it down. It's on a tripod. And Geo's also been working on a really cool like sepia shader for it, so you get like old-timey photos look old-timey, and then as you get better and better cameras, you can get different sort of pictures. That's the idea, at least. So I mean, all of this stuff, like, leave your thoughts in the survey of what you'd like to see with this sort of thing. Like, and I personally like, I've got a couple of cameras that I use in real life, so I'm excited about the ideas of like interchangeable lenses and like sort of fisheye lenses, like really telephoto sort of things. Being able to play with depth of field and aperture and stuff like that be really cool. And I don't know if that's like overkill, so if you want to see that as well, put it in the survey. So yeah, I don't know, Geo, if you want to show, are you ready to show your sepia filter that you
Oh
go
yeah,
along
sure.
with this camera?
Okay, sure. So right now,
Nice.
I'm using the same camera because we haven't do all this setup on the old-timey camera. There are some gameplay implications because the old-timey camera has a tripod, so we have considered that maybe it should be not a tool but a word object. So we still need to figure some stuff before getting to work. But the idea is that when you use the camera, you get like this old-timey sensation when you take the pictures. Right now, we only have implemented the first part, and that is taking like the photos will come by default on the old-timey camera with a sepia filter. And once again, you can check it those on your computer, and you can see how they kind of will look with the old-timey camera. There are still some stuff that we want to improve, but I hope that this really gives some idea of what we want to achieve with this feature, and have all sort of ideas. Like, imagine having you find a contract when they are hiring a photograph or doing an investigation, and you use this old-timey filter and really take some interesting pictures to display about what's happening. I mean, there is all sort of options with this that Jens is going to mention later. But I really hope that it help us get an idea what's happening. Before we go back to Toby, that's going to show us something about the printers, I'm going to answer some of the questions that we have found on the chat so far. So when is cameras going to be available? This is a feature that is planned to be on the 10 version of the game, so it's going to be available soon, relatively speaking. I mean, we still need to figure a couple of stuff, but we are going to have it ready for the official launch of the Eco 10 version. There is another question that the pictures are saved permanently, so the pictures you can save them locally, but once you press the save button, you will also be able to save them on the server, so they can be synced for everyone. This part is a little bit tricky, so there are going to be some server parameters related to this. Please correct me if I am wrong, Jens, but as far as I understand, each server admin would have the possibility to reject what photos are uploaded to the server. Is it like that?
There's a distinction between the camera feature, but also the user textures that we'll go in through here in a bit. But essentially, what we would want for configuration wise is to allow the server kind of the alternative of setting how many pictures a single user is able to provide to the server, but also be able to kind of allow the user himself, if there is a limit to that, to remove the pictures he's provided that is uploaded. But there's a lot of technical issues or kind of hurdles that we need to go over and make sure that you can't just have a single user to just like flood the server storage or something. So there's a couple of significant management input config options that we're looking at to kind of help mitigate any kind of griefing to either hardware or management side of things. I can probably take a couple of these other questions since we're talking about just general questions.
Yeah, sure. I will answer the last one, and you can go. There's one. I'm sorry, I misunderstood one that James is going to fix because I misunderstood the question. There is one that asks if the photos are stored in what is the format that is used to store the photos. Right now we use a JPG, as we don't need transparency and it's a extremely cheap format. But we are always open to feedback. So if there is a reason someone thinks that we should do something different, sure, go ahead and let us know what you think on the survey. Now back to Jens so he can answer the question. Sorry, Jens, for the interruption.
Yeah, no worries. At which part the tech of cameras comes into play? Right now we've got the old-timey camera planned for early stages mechanical era, so kind of before your steam trucks and all that. So fairly soon as you start to kind of unlock a bit of technology and the tier 2 kind of step. And then you're looking at the modern camera, which is plastic and oil production based, so requiring a bit more technical components. And yeah, so kind of mid game and then late game to get these nice additional option kind of poke around with. Armored Stone coming out with can we record videos? And I believe we could potentially do it, but there's also some technical issues and kind of presentation wise. Probably going over to you and Toby for that in regards to like if we would be able to toggle like a record mode and then it would save the recording on the PC, but not necessarily to display it in game, perhaps.
Yeah, I think the best quality for that would be to use something external, like using like Unity's recorder and things like that. You don't get a lot of control over the quality of the video that comes out unless you're actually recording in something like ProRes. But like you could potentially tap into that and have like a video camera. But yeah, that'd be fun. I like shooting video as well, so it's definitely something we should look into at some point.
Yeah, my initial opinion is the same. I mean, there are professional software that are built for that, like the NVIDIA recorder or OBS. That is the one that we actually use for the stream. I imagine that is a feature that a lot of people want. We can work on something like that, but it's not on our initial plans to allow players to record videos. Are there more questions, Jens?
Yeah, I got aside from cameras, any low-tech alternative with painting, and I believe on the topic of if we decide to go with the tripod camera as like a placeable object that you then interact with to kind of take a picture around the world, it could potentially be something we would look at, perhaps with like an easel that you place down and then you do kind of photo setup, but then it comes out as an actual like painting with not as color perfect picture, but rather as an like an oil painting, if you will, on a crude level. Could be interesting. What do you think?
Yeah,
we have.
I'm in for that. Yeah.
Oh no, yeah, go ahead, Toby.
Yeah, no, I was just gonna say like that's a good idea, and we have actually got an easel object done, so it wouldn't be too hard.
I work on a small demonstration, a small preview of a demo where we could have like a more of like artistic style instead of the realistic style of the photos. That would be cool to have on something like the kind of paint that would be really cool also for decorations. I mean, it's not on it's strong on the plans, but we agree that it's a nice idea.
Yeah. And then we got, can I be in incognito mode so no one takes pictures of me? And
That's complicated. I mean, how it works is that it literally like read all the pixels from the camera and store them. So I mean, there is not in the current version an alternative to do something like that. But I'm really curious, why would someone want to be incognito and not being on the pictures? I can't think of a good reason for that. But I mean, I understand that there's some be some preferences. Maybe what you need is to get a law where people can get a picture of you without your permission, or I mean, they can get a picture but not use it publicly. Something more like it works on real world when someone takes a picture of you in public, they can't use it unless you gave the signed permission for that. But I don't know if Toby or Jens have different opinions on that.
no, I think I agree. That's, we got
I was going to say that's another use for paper is we could make release forms. People have to sign.
there is one more, then we can probably move on to the next because some of the questions are related to features along in the stream. And that is, do other players see the flash? And this is something that I raised concerns with when we first started talking about having a flash system for the camera to make sure that you can't get too obstructive. You can't run up to players and kind of annoy them with having bright flashes continuously pop up in your face, or medical issues such as epilepsy and kind of photosensitivity. And what we're looking at is adding kind of a small VFX, so other players won't see the entirety of the flash, but they'll see that a flash is happening due to some kind of particles that aren't really ready yet.
Yeah, I'm sorry I forgot to mention we already have like the sound effects for the camera, and I mean there is a small sound that is done when the picture is done. That, for example, is for all the players, so you will be able to hear when someone takes the picture. We have think of different options as Jens mentioned, but as he said, we all agree that having a lot of flashes for the people would be like really uncomfortable. So right now, when you have the flash and you see it's like really shiny here, but when you take a picture, you can see the light by yourself, but it would be really uncomfortable for all the players. And going back to the question of the incognito, now that we have someone else on the team that has been working on this feature to check in on that. He mentioned that there would be a chance to, for example, hiding the players while the picture is taken. I don't know if that's really something that we want, but feel free to use the survey if a lot of people want that feature. That made something that we can take a look at. Answering another question, autofocus. We haven't considered that, to be honest. It may be interesting. Once again, survey is the right place to suggest that. And we always like that everything we do is modelable. So that's part of the plans that we have, but it's not something that is being done right now. I don't know, Toby, if you want to go ahead and show the printers.
Yeah, I can show that.
Nice.
Yeah, so this is the new printing press. I say new, but it's been done for a little while, but we've got a use for it now, so it's good. So you can go into the UI here, and you can actually browse your PC to load up images. I don't think I'll open that mystery image one. That might be something we should show later. But yeah, I'll give myself some. Oh, hang on. I haven't got any paper, so just cheat. So with the paper, you can print these images like this. You get like a little preview here as well. My screen lagging a lot, is it? I'll try and move smoothly.
I think the video feed is showing it's
Yeah,
Australianism, unfortunately.
I can see that. Yeah. Well, enjoy the slideshow. Yeah, I'm just checking out the stream. It's really chugging. Sorry. Maybe I should turn my camera off or something like that. But anyway, we've got these picture frames as well, which you can see, hopefully. I don't know if Gio, you wanted to jump in here after I show this, and you could have a run through and look at the different frames. It might be a bit smoother on your end.
That's a good idea. It's I'm loading again the server. I had disconnected. Sorry. Like in
Okay.
2 minutes
Yeah.
I can go back.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, so basically in the frames you can drag in a different image that you've got, and it will update. And we've got, so these are the sort of basic wooden ones. There's actually a few other variants on this for like 4x3 and 3x4 sort of. So there's 5 different sizes for the frames. Some of them are just sort of rotated, but
Yeah. I think we missed it, but when to clarify there, because there's a little confusion here, I think. But when you take an image with the camera, and you selected your aspect ratios and all of that, and you're nice and you're happy with it, you hit save on the photo, and it stores it and saves it, but it also pops out as an item in game, and that is what you can interact with these things with. So you drag it onto a frame, and that'll pop in the image you just took and be able to display it on anything that you'd like that has this frame slot.
Yeah, I'll see if I can show that. Nope, that doesn't seem to be working for me just yet, but that is how it should work. Maybe Gio can show that. It might be working for him.
Yeah, I'll share my screen in a couple of seconds. It's still loading. As the server is being hosted by Toby, and for me to connect to Australian server, it also takes a while.
I'm sorry. Sorry, everyone. Don't blame me. Yeah.
Got a couple of more questions just in the meantime while we're waiting. Sure. Will cameras be mod-able in any way?
So the idea is that everything we do on the game should be, it should be possible to create mods around it. For cameras should not be the exception, but I'm aware that as the feature is right now, it's not possible to do mods around that. But we have that in mind. We would really like to talk with our super modders like Kai, Mons, and I can't remember the name, and Neat. Because we would like to see what ideas they have and what do they need to make them actually work on with mods. But yeah, as it is, no, but it's in our plans.
Yeah, and I also think that when it comes to like general, if the question is more leaned towards general like camera functionalities, there are some inherent kind of blockers when it comes to client side moddings in particular, like UI, like larger UI changes or UI features, and things like custom scripts that needs to be ran on the client side isn't possible. But as we work fairly closely with our modders and try to cater as much as possible, if they do have certain features or certain requests when it comes to these scripts that is needed in the base game, we try to get them in to as much of an extent as we can to allow this sort of customizability. We also had some storage, and there's also a couple of questions here with being able to sell images. I believe right now it is a bit tricky in regards to kind of how the store handles items, because these are going to be unique items across the board, and we don't really have a good way to represent or to show off what specific image you're buying in the store. So it's a bit of a lottery at the moment, or a roulette table trying to buy it. But it is something that I'm looking from how we want to be able to do it. If we want to be able to, say, sell or buy them through the actual picture frames as an alternative, but it's a tricky thing to kind of work around, and we're looking into it, but we don't really have a definitive answer to it at the moment.
There is a question that you kind of answered a moment ago, but maybe it needs more information. And it is about if it is possible to disable the feature, so as someone is concerned on the server folder clock up with the endless photos.
Yeah, and that was part of the server configs that we're looking on, to just allow a server to prevent photos in general. If they don't want the camera mode active on their server, they can disable that. But at the same time, we also want to kind of give more customizability. So we're looking at, say, a memory threshold per client, or a certain quantity of images, but there's nothing really set in stone and decided on that yet, and it's still something that we're speculating a little bit about, but also experimenting and making sure that it's options that fit us, but at the same time allowing the customizability that server admins needs to be able to maintain a healthy setup.
Okay, nice. Are there additional questions, Jens, that you need to answer? Just in case, I am sharing my screen now to show how the frames look on the game. It should be
Well,
less.
I think we can keep going with showing off some of the images and frames. And
okay, so it should be a little bit smoother here. So what? Okay, actually, Toby, you can keep talking, and I'll follow your character.
Yeah. Actually, maybe start down the bottom here. That's a good photo, that one. I don't know if you saw that, Jens, but yeah. So you got the, as I was saying before, you got the kind of basic frames like wooden and iron. It's these ones here. If we go up a little bit, we've got some more ornate frames with a little bit more fanciness. Same sort of layout in terms of aspect ratios that are available. They match the camera, so like, you can get whatever aspect ratio you take the photo of, you can pop into a frame. So we've got some more ornate iron ones here and some ornate wood ones. And then if we go up the top here, we've got the really fancy frames.
That's nice.
Yeah, it's a nice photo of some friendly farmers, on either side of the fence there, having a chat. Yeah, so there's the same sort of aspect ratio options for these frames as well. There's just, I ran out of room, so. But
And we
yeah,
have the
so you
famous Slender Fox.
Slender Fox, yeah, a rare sighting.
Nice. I feel like I'm in a museum.
Yeah, if you want to see Slender Fox back as well, just put that in the survey. And just let us know. If enough people want it, we can put it back. Right, James?
We also need to add portals on the photos, like on Mario.
Nice.
It was I can't remember it was for the 64 console. I can't remember.
Yeah.
The Ultra, I think.
Eaten by the image and just soaked up in there.
That's nice. Okay, so that's some really nice frames. I can go and show you the printer back just in case.
But before that, we did have a question regarding the kind of pictures in general and the photos, and there is a question kind of sneaking into the settlement system that people are asking about. So I believe you should be able to just open up the image or open up a frame, and there should be a sneaky button there, I believe.
Let me
Um,
take a picture.
no, just not even
Let's see.
grabbing another image just in case, saving the
Oh.
house in case it explodes when you open up the frame.
Yeah, I think that for some reasons, sorry, it seems like we have a technical issue and the frame wasn't stored on after I take a picture. Let me check with
That's
this.
fine. It's fine.
Yeah. Yeah. Sorry about that. Okay. But we can also create the item with the printer.
Oh, there we
right?
go. But no stuff. I think that's because of the Australian server. It takes a long time before it actually reacts to taking an image, so it pops
Yeah.
up as approval rating. But if you, yeah, so we have you can go over the user images where we've got a feature now for that we hooked up to the printing press, and it allows you to upload textures directly to the server. And this, of course, goes through the whole approval process, but also there's server configurations to disallow this completely, and there's also a data size limiter, so you can set how big the pictures are allowed to be uploaded, and some other current configs. But we're, any concerns you have in terms of management of like data limitations and uploads to the server, please fill them out in the survey as well, because I believe we have some custom fields in there that allows you to free type of any specific thing that you wanted to see. And obviously one of the quick ones being the not safe for work kind of pictures. And there is a default, if you have the feature enabled, you have a configuration option that is enabled by default, which is approval. And that is something where a user texture is never allowed into the gameplay until a server admin has reviewed it through an approval or reject system. So should pop up for Toby, I guess, since he's admin on the server. But if you give Geo admin, well, I guess he has admin as well.
Yeah. I've
Should
given
pop up on the
admin.
side. Essentially, it pops up a UI that you can enter, and you list through all the textures and everything that is uploaded on display, and you can just click on it and go approve or reject. As for the images themselves, if you open up a photo frame, you can see that we have a button called Rate Picture in it.
Okay. Yeah.
So on the frame itself. So when you have an image slotted in there, you can rate the picture, and you can, I think you can click it. It should be safe. It shouldn't explode too much. And it gives you an option that currently just has the placeholder for reputation. So you essentially give fame to that image, and that ties into the cultural system for the settlements, which is a source of culture. But the tricky thing at the moment is that you can only give cultural reputation to images that you don't own. So you can't just feed yourself with a lot of points freely, but you have to be given these points by someone else. And cultural value is also what's promoting and helping your town grow in terms of influence and other things that we'll go into on the settlement stream.
Okay.
You should be able to just click one of those. I think you should be able to pop up that window.
Seems like not, but yeah, we can see here that I get the notification of the that the pictures that I tried to upload to the server are waiting for the notification. Are waiting for the approval. I'm sorry. But yeah, that's like the concept of that, and it's really important the rate system, because it will really, I mean, imagine having on your Sultan the most famous picture of the server. That's really cool. Okay, so yeah, this part isn't working to open it. Not sure why, but yeah.
Button below the notification. Oh, the
Oh.
second one, the second UI button.
Okay. Yeah, sorry. I got a
That one.
mistake on
There we go.
Yeah.
And
Sorry.
once you open
Let
it,
me let me
it takes a
minimize
little while
this.
because it's on a remote server.
Yeah.
And it loads in all the images that is uploaded, and then you have a hotkey for unreviewed photos versus approved ones, and you can hit approve and delete. And on delete, it should remove it from the storage, so it completely
repeat it.
vanishes.
Yeah, that's really interesting. Oh.
And then as through that, you can also see the actions. So if someone does upload inappropriate images, you can outright ban them from that UI. So you don't need to chase down who actually uploaded it. It has the user linked to that image.
Yeah, you can see here the options to ban the author, just in case it's someone that's already always trolling in your server. I mean, you know that it will prevent him from uploading additional pictures. Yeah, that's really cool. Anything, other additional questions, Jens?
Will there be bigger picture frames, or is this something mods can do? I believe it's just a matter of adding the component to whatever game object you want, and then you can set up the probably more for you, Toby, since you're the one that's on all the frames.
It should be fairly moddable, but also some of those like fancier frames, I think some of those might actually end up being a bit larger than they are at the moment. But so we would want to add some like massive ones for, you know, if you've got an art gallery, you could have a really big frame. But yeah, they'll be moddable as well, definitely.
Nice. Do we have more questions?
Can you look at photos without putting them in a frame? And will the item icon match the photo? That's an interesting one.
We have considered a lot of different options for this, but as we have mentioned, this is a work in progress, so we still have some decisions to make, and we hope that the survey help us to make those decisions. As obviously, the most important is the community opinion. So right now, the item itself is not possible to see a picture. If you can, you can. You can always go to the pictures on your computer if you allow them to be stored, and this is probably the easiest option that we have right now that's allowed to see the photos. But we have considered additional elements to include in the game. For example, to include like a photo album. So when you take photos, they go to a photo album, and the photo album is an item that you can review and check the different photos, similar to a gallery on your smartphone, that you take a picture and you can go to a gallery and check and browse the photos that you have taken. But it's something that we have been considering, but probably would be post 10 version, as we still need to do a lot of polish. We would rather have a good functional feature that a lot of different broken ones. But not sure if Toby or Jens want to comment anything else about that.
So good.
Yeah, no, that's good summary. And we've got some other with paper milling, finally a job ? And I have some more things cooking rather than just the images, but this is kind of our first step into making paper a more used commodity, as a lot of people probably been wondering when that would ever happen, and it's on the horizon. We've got some things in here, but can talk about that in a little bit here. Autofocus was answered. We're probably going to look at something like autofocus, but at the moment, I believe the range. So when you open up the camera and you have the focal length, what you're seeing in the numbers represented is the tile's distance from your position. And going to do like using the raycast of the camera or of the avatar to kind of see and target and pinpoint and then kind of give you a spacing of 3-4 tiles would probably not be impossible. That's on Geo's table.
Yeah, no, it should be doable. Also, I hope that you enjoy. If someone wants to know what it feels to, like, when you need to wear glasses and you don't wear them, that's something like that you're going to see. I mean, for example, in my case, when I don't wear my glasses, I'm kind of at this point. It's better, but not that far from this. But yeah, we will take a look on the autofocus. Feel free to give us that and any other features for the camera that you want to include.
We got another one with sort of higher tech level imagery and something that's on a lot of people's media reception here in regards to either news reporting or just videos in general, being drone cameras. So being able to kind of have an object that you remotely control to be able to overview or take, say, higher elevation photos without having admin powers or things like that.
Yeah,
Yes.
oh yeah, Toby, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, yeah, like I'd be excited for that as well. Like having really modern cameras, and then being able to branch out into drones and things like that would be really cool.
Yeah,
It depends how much the picture gets used and like how much we want to flesh it out. But you could take it a long way. People enjoy it, especially as you start looking into like people could become journalists basically on their server and be like attending events and taking photos, and then selling that to the news and things like that.
Yeah, it would be cool. I mean, the vehicles. I mean, we already have a vehicle system, but we don't have any flying vehicles. So we probably would start by adding that kind of vehicles to the game before thinking of flying drones. But I think it's a really cool idea. I'm sorry, James, that I interrupt you. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I think on the drones things, I think that if everyone takes a lot of images and there's a lot of interactions with it, and a lot of people find it enjoyable, and we see just general activity around it, and people are requesting it, it's gonna be probably more incentivized to add and flesh out more functionalities to it, because there is a lot of features that we're working on and a lot of things that kind of need attention, things like the animals and the ecosystem and big kind of reworks that we're looking at doing to fix up a lot of these things. Cameras gives you a good feel of being able to kind of give a bit of history of your world as it's evolving, but also give you more general activities to do while playing instead of just focusing on progression and tech unlocks, and just industrialization, but something that allows people to just chill back, relax,
and
find some cool things.
And even if you lose the game, you will have a unique chance to take a picture of a close-up picture to a meteor. That's a really cool experience.
Yeah. Selfies in general, I believe we have something cooking in that regard for with the avatars in general. So there's something coming up with that, but not really something that we're ready to show off here. But there is some stuff in the works for it.
Yeah, but just in case if anyone wants to know what's like the progress on selfies, can check the stream that we did for avatars. It was done by Toby and Milenko, and you can see a preview of what we have in mind for taking a selfie. Is like a similar system to what they show when on the avatar creation.
Yeah, that is true. You can check that out. We got on the subject of photos on walls, world map objects. I'm guessing like a bigger an ability to kind of post the rendition of the world map that we have on the what's it called? Help me here. the real estate desk. That's what it's called. Having a brain freeze there for a bit.
Yeah, I've actually just done that locally. I put that component onto one of the frames, and yeah, that works. You can display the map in like a picture frame if you want to have like a massive, like beautiful picture frame with the world map in it that updates. That works. So we could do that pretty easily. I don't know about like showing the borders and settlement sort of stuff, but I'm sure that wouldn't be too tricky.
Nice. We have a question that is really interesting, and I think that we haven't talked about it. And is what is the recipe for the first camera?
The recipe for the first camera it's under mechanics, I believe I left it at. But if you give me half a second here, I can actually have a look. And I believe it was related to glass bulbs. And let me see here, tools. The tripod camera is currently using a glass lens, a light bulb, some leather hides, and some metal bars.
Nice. I think that was the question. I don't know if we have additional questions on the chat that we want to check, or we can go and return to the questions after you start talking, Jens, about the feature of paper that you already gave us a really small introduction about that.
Yeah, and I think there are some general questions, and some of them are poking in more to like the cultural affection on the cameras and like how the art galleries and image owners and so on. And the culture is tied to the image itself. So you rate a picture, that data is stored on that picture in the game, so you can trade it to another settlement for, big bucks. If it's high value or high worth of a commodity. And so there's a big potential black market for high cultural prices between towns and between countries that could spark some interesting economical rivalries and other shenanigans that people can get up to when they have the ability to do so.
Nice. Any other questions you want to check before going, or maybe Toby needs to show something else before going ahead with the rest of the paper information?
No, I think I'm all okay. I don't want to show my choppy stream again anyway, so yeah, we're all good.
Okay, Jen. So I think that you should go ahead and tell us what you have in mind for that.
Yeah. So with cameras in mind and with images in mind, something that we started discussing was how can we add more things into the game and more, kind of social aspect and utilize this system more in a gameplay environment, or something that could have players have an interaction, have some creativity, as well as kind of get more usage out of the image system and retailing of some of those things to be able to contract and just more general socializing. And one of the things that we kind of started looking at is images are all nice and dandy, and it's nice to be able to post them up on frames and be able to kind of interact with them and store them and save them. But what else can we do with images? And one of the things that images are really important part of is telling a story and also presenting you with news and facts. So we started to really look in deeper into things like newspapers and other type of representative media where you can have a use for these things. And I started kind of cooking up something for newspapers, which isn't really super detailed as of right now. So there's still a couple of questions that I need to go over and make sure that they work well. It's also something that is planned for post 10, but it is kind of an interesting development out of something that we just initially took as this nice little cool gadget that could impact towns and things, and sort of ran with it and see where we could lead with fun interactive gameplay. And we'll have more on that once we sort of get through 10, and we have some more things to kind of tangibly present as one thing leads into another, and you can get into a very slippery slope of, I want to add this feature and this would be very cool, and then we could add this one and then expand on it this way, and it just kind of, you can kind of keep running with it until you hit a brick wall and realize that, oh boy, we spent way too much time on this where we could, add more things into more end game content, or fix up the animal systems and things like that. So it needs to also be kind of contained and reined in a little bit, because it's very dangerous to just keep going.
Yeah, I understand completely that, but like an opposite idea, if on the other hand people are excited to see these kind of features and have multiple ideas of what they would like to do with the photo system, please feel free to comment on the survey. I mean, we have all sort of ideas that would be really cool, but it doesn't make sense to just to implement the ideas that we have. We obviously want to work on what the community needs or the community would like to see on the game. So for example, if you think like, oh, it would be really cool to have like official photography contest on servers, so you can post your picture and there are different categories, funny animal and stuff like that. Or no, I would like to see like photography as a full-time profession, that you can hire a photographer to find people that are littering and take the pictures to show the evidence and stuff like that. We are really open to all sort of ideas. So remember that we have the survey, and feel free to give us all the information you have on that. Back to you, Jens, for the other questions.
Yeah, we got a couple of questions to kind of close out with, unless we have a lot of other things. And some of them being, can you clone pictures? And the answer would be yes to that. I think you can do it with the user textures, and I believe you should be able to do it with the pictures as well. Not entirely sure how we're looking at with that feature, but the essential being the same. You chuck it into the printing press and you add paper, and you can make copies out of it that are blank, that doesn't hold the properties of the parent image. So you can't take an image, give it a bunch of points, and then copy it and get a bunch of points on that image. So it would be a new thing. And what else do we have here? Cultural thing being kept on the image if the image changed owners. Yes, I believe I answered that one. Got the other ones. And if two people have the same picture, the culture rating can be the same on both. It won't be duplicated, so it will be that unique image would have that kind of property. And thirdly on that would be, will the fame of a portrait tie into the housing value at all? No, at the moment it's only affecting cultural value, but it is potential that will change. It is still heavily under development still, and I think that's the thing that might be more prominent to test out and give feedback on once we move into staging and play testing for it, to give more of a honest hands-on answer of it.
So we have another question that we have already answered, but just in case, it's about the selfie system. So we are also working on selfies, and there is a preview for that on the avatar stream that we did where you can take a picture of your own avatar when creating it. Okay, not sure if there are more questions, Toby or Jens, that you have seen and want to answer.
We got regarding the whole photography and speaking of shenanigans and taking picture of people that are dumping tailings out of a cliff or garbage in your backyard. Had a question about if you could take pictures and the camera be revealing kind of evidence regarding something that has happened. It is an interesting prospect, and I think it might be something that we'll look into the future, but nothing that we have planned at the moment, at least. But it wouldn't surprise me if that's something that get heavily looked into from the modding perspective to kind of get ahead of us in that department.
Something else that could be cool with that is like using infrared to identify like crops that are gonna start dying, that sort of thing. That's like used heavily in farming. Like now that farming's getting a lot more modernized, they're like using drones with infrared, and yeah, that'd be kind of interesting. Different visualization sort of modes like temperature and infrared.
Yeah, no, that's an interesting aspect. We'll keep it under investigation when we poke at the farming in general. I think maybe some interesting high tech tools that will allow you to kind of visualize where things are going bad if your crops are dying.
Yeah,
but that'll be an interesting one. Oh, I think that's everything we had for this stream, unless someone has anything else.
I think that would be all. The last question that I saw was if there's going to be an option to add a watermark. We haven't considered that, but I think that is a good idea. I mean, some of the questions about features are features that we didn't consider on the original planning. So feel free to add those questions in form of suggestion on the survey, and we will try to check what options are really common and try to really focus our work on that. So yeah, I think that would be all. Thank you everyone for watching the stream, and I hope that we have been able to answer all the questions.